Today's the day. Today's the day.
It's here. Just
I didn't sleep too well last night.
How are you feeling? Right? How did you wake up this morning? Like, how's the situation?
I didn't sleep too well last night.
Really?
I was thinking about it, which I actually liked because I was like, man, why can't I fall asleep? What's going on here? But I was like, look, that's good that you're invested enough still into a college football team that you're having trouble sleeping. I feel good about it. I think we're in for an incredible game.
I think we are too. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you. I'm feeling good about Michigan right now. We're going to get into it. All right, which, I hate betting against Washington, but look, it's here, man.
Live stream tonight?
Live stream tonight.
That's the best part. I get to hang out with my friends for a live stream of a championship game.
And kudos to you for that, too.
What do you mean?
For, doing the live stream while you're watching the national championship.
It'd be hard. It'd be hard.
You wouldn't want me to do that.
Yeah.
The people wouldn't want me to do that.
We couldn't put Blaine on.
They would not.
Not live.
I don't know if I could do the Buckeyes game. That one's always different. That one's different.
Different. We're going to find out, David. I'm pumped for you, man. Michigan takes on Washington in the College Football Playoff National Championship game tonight. The NFL playoff matchups are set, and the Falcons fire head coach Arthur Smith after three seasons. At least he's still rich. I'm Jay Crane, and welcome to Crane & Company. Now, the whole college football season comes down to tonight's game. It's Midwest versus West Coast, Smash Mouth versus Spread It Out, and the Great Lakes versus, the ocean. And while this matchup isn't the Coca-Cola Classic that we're used to seeing with a team representing from the South, that doesn't mean it won't be as delicious, and in the long run, it's better for you to have an alternative every once in a while. That's why I'm calling tonight's national championship matchup, the college football natty, Zero Sugar. Now, we haven't seen an SEC teamless natty since the inception of the college football playoff in 2014, but make no mistake, this isn't a mistake. These two teams are elite, and both have a roster full of the unteachable intangible, which is experience. Now, both identities are polar opposites. There's more than one way to skin a cat, but they're both as deadly in effectiveness. Now, it's no time to get cute. It's no time to reinvent the wheel. It's time to dance with the one that brought you. 1 if by ground in Michigan and 2 if by air in Washington. We should be in for a doozy of a matchup either way in a year where more teams have been capable of winning the whole thing than ever before. And maybe, just maybe, this year is the new norm. And it isn't just a parody of so-called parody. I'm bringing my my current co-host, former Michigan quarterback, guy with a lot of nerves, but their nerves of steel tonight.
Steel.
David Williford Cohn, the 7th. Then my brother, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver, Blaine Crane. I don't think Williford's David's middle name. I'm pretty sure it's Adam, but
I like it, though.
That does sound pretty good. We mentioned how you're feeling off the rip, but David, just for a second, talk to the audience about how you're looking at this game. I know we want to get into keys to victory, but not having an SEC team or a team from the South, man, I think it's good every now and then. It's good every now and then to eat some vegetables, man.
No, it's really good. It's good for college football to see, especially when we talk about there's 133 teams vying for 4 spots. Now, that may go up to 12 next year, but for 4 spots, well, you need some different flavor in there to keep everyone's interest. And when you look at a program like Michigan, who was only, 36 months away during COVID from really being able to move off of Jim Harbaugh, which just was unthinkable, him being the Golden Sun in Ann Arbor, played for Bo Schembechler, All-American. But, he hadn't beaten the Buckeyes at that point, 0 college football playoff appearances, 0 Big Ten titles. It would have been justifiable to see what's happened these past 3 seasons and to get to this point to play for a national championship. I think you're going to look at programs like Southern Cal, Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, and those are just some of the blue bloods. Forget about other programs like Virginia or Virginia Tech or Syracuse, even Oregon State with all the uncertainty that with some of these programs moving forward. Look and say, look, man, we have a chance, especially when the playoff expands. I'm incredibly excited for tonight. I think we're in store for a good football game. Honestly, it's a win-win for me. This Michigan football program, I gave a lot of blood, sweat, and tears for, so it'd be nice to see them climb the mountaintop. But also, I have very good friends on almost brothers coaching on the other side as well. I think I have half a dozen former teammates coaching in this game and probably another half a dozen coaches that I played for coaching in this game. That includes equipment, staff, and everybody it takes to run a football program. So it's awesome to see, and I hope we're in store for a good one.
We are, and we're going to be live streaming it tonight, so make sure you sync up to where we're at in the game. We're going to be doing live bets. We're going to attempt to take live calls, I believe. We're going to see if we can get that worked out. We're obviously going to have the live chat, but I'm really excited about watching this matchup. Also, we got the phone lines open at 7:15 a.m. Central. That's 8:15 a.m. Eastern. Give us a call, 1-855-236-3228. And remember, if you donate and it's off topic, we will read it at the end. If it's on topic, Blaine, my brother, sitting to my right, we'll read it while we're talking about it. Blaine, right before we get into keys to victory, how are you feeling? It's Natty night. Just don't kill me on Natty night.
Look, man, I'm just here to hit some bets. All right, I want to hit some bets tonight. To be honest with you, I'm kind of struggling with which way I'm going to lean to bet in this game. 4.5. Is that enough? I mean, the over-under went up 2 points, I believe. It's at 56.5. So, I'm still feeling it out. Congratulations. Kudos for you to even be here, David, right? Just to even be able to watch this game, especially what Michigan went through the entire year, the adversity y'all had to face from the Burger Gate to a sportsmanship scandal. And you look on the other side of Washington, good for Michael Penix. You talking about climbing hills and climbing mountains, always from Indiana, all the way back to Washington. Got over a lot of injuries, and good for him, and good for both these teams, man. I don't care there's a team from the South not in. It really doesn't matter to me. The two best teams are here to play, and that's Washington and Michigan.
Without a doubt. All right, keys to victory. You got to have a fresh game plan, right? You got to have a fresh mindset while maintaining your identity. But if you're going to stay fresh, you need to stay with HelloFresh. All right, whether your New Year's resolution was to save money, eat better, or stress less, HelloFresh is here to help you do all three. Now, we all know you're probably not going to stick to your New Year's resolutions, so I would hang on to HelloFresh for as long as humanly possible. And you need to say hello to your most delicious year yet with fresh ingredients and chef-crafted recipes at a price you'll like, delivered right to your door. My wife's pescatarian. They have a pescatarian option. They absolutely knock it out of the park every time. They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and HelloFresh agrees. In fact, they're giving all subscribers free breakfast for life. That's right. It's free brekkie for the rest of your life. That's why they offer 45 recipes to choose from every single week. And again, I have gotten probably 4 different types of HelloFresh boxes delivered to the house. Probably my favorite, the salmon they send is fantastic.
Is it? I like the pork tacos.
The pork tacos are really good. Yeah. That's like your go-to.
I really like that one. Darby Lou makes that one up. Look, dinner, I never thought growing up dinner time could be so chaotic with 2 young babies, but it is. HelloFresh makes it easier.
Without a doubt. When HelloFresh is the game plan, you always score. So go to HelloFresh.com/boosterfree. This is a new one. All right, HelloFresh.com/boosterfree and use that same code boosterfree for a free breakfast for life. Do it now. That's 1 breakfast item per box while the subscription's active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/boosterfree with code boosterfree. It's America's #1 meal kit. Again, we are going to live stream the Natty tonight. Go check some HelloFresh out. Get ready to live stream the Natty with us. That's going to be here on the YouTube channel. So make sure you hit subscribe, and we're going to drop the link for merch in the chat. That helps us more than you guys know. Using the sponsors, using the merch, that's really a big play all around for everybody. All right, Dave, let's get to keys to victory.
All right, you want me to start?
Yeah, you know what? You start this bad boy off.
I'll start. You tell me where you agree and what you disagree with here, okay? Michigan, obviously, you hit on a lot of this in your opening. Run the ball and don't stop. Don't get cute for Michigan. You need long, sustained drives here. For Michigan to beat Alabama and to beat the Buckeyes, they had to pitch backwards at time. They needed a complete game plan. 3 of the last 4 games they played not only 3 top 10 teams, but 3 top 10 defenses. And they did what they needed to do against Alabama and against the Buckeyes. This may play out a little more like how they played against Penn State. I know there were some weather elements like that, and you had the whole Jim Harbaugh thing when he got suspended the day before the game. But I'm thinking long, sustained drives on the ground, commit to the run game. Time of possession is a stat we don't look at as much anymore because football has changed. It's a lot different than when I was playing. But I think that Michigan will get 10 possessions. I'm thinking 4 of those at least, they need drives of more than 8 plays. They had three of those against Alabama, only 2 against the Buckeyes, but one was 13 plays, one was 14 plays. That's holding on to the football for a lot of time. And it should be, that's what Michigan's best at. That is your identity. So not only is that going to give you a great opportunity to score, but it keeps Michael Penix Penix Jr. on the sidelines, and it chews up clock. Now, for Washington on their defensive side, can you hold up against Michigan's run while playing single high and zone behind it? I think J.J. McCarthy has shown if you're going to play man against him, whether it be all-out cover zero like the Buckeyes game a year ago, or even, man coverage like we saw Alabama playing for most of the game, he's going to pick you apart and he'll take care of business. Zone coverage, though, gives him a little bit of trouble. Can you do that while also handling Michigan's run game? On the other side of the ball for Washington's offense, take what Michigan gives you. I know that Michael Penix Jr. may come into this game and say, no, I'm going to be slinging post patterns and corner patterns and poco routes and circus and all this kind of stuff. And he very may well do that. But if Michigan gives you the underneath routes, if they decide to play this umbrella coverage, run the ball, or get the ball out hot, hit your checkdowns, take that profit all the way down the field, and then convert in the red zone. And then for Michigan's defense, you got to just be yourself. It's been your best unit all year, maybe one of the best units in the country. You've put this defense together for these sorts of moments. You've beaten every type of team now. Last week, we didn't know because they hadn't beaten a quarterback that can take off and run for 85 yards on any given play. They've beaten this type of team before. Michael Penix Jr. may be better than most they face, but I'm still thinking this core unit beat a Buckeyes team that had C.J. Stroud throwing the football to Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Marvin Harrison Jr. all on that core. You've played against a really good quarterback with elite offensive weapons on the outside. So, be yourselves and make your halftime adjustments. That's one of the things Jesse Mentor has done best all season and last year.
Man, I agree with you 100%. It's something we've talked about all the time. They say if you have in practicing the law, if you have the law, pound the law. If you have the facts, pound the facts. If you have neither, pound the table. I think Michigan's got the law and the facts here. I think you can dictate the whole game. I think stylistically, and this isn't saying Washington's soft on defense, but Michigan has had a lot of success running against teams that aren't exactly soft on defense. And I think Washington, while they are good defensively, they cannot stack up if Michigan wants to go 12 personnel or even go heavy 11 and be able to run it downhill and limit the possessions of Washington. What I'm going to find the most fascinating is how does Michigan play it out of the gate? Do you come out and say, all right, offensively, we are going to play slow, we are going to try and limit possessions from the start? Or do we come out and say, hey, we want to get up, the game needs to go how we think it's going to go with our ability to run the ball and then to play action, throw it off of it, right? And then open up other things in the offense and then slow it down. That's what I'm interested to see, how Michigan kind of plays it out of the gate. I think you got to stick by your guns, obviously. You got to dance with the one that brought you, like I meant in the open. And then Washington offensively, I'm with you. Michael Penix and Kalen DeBoer, and they cannot get greedy. Because I think Michigan, and it's kind of a pride-swallowing thing for Michigan. Michigan's gone out there and shut people down. Like, it's not bend but don't break. It's not, hey, let's just give up 17, we'll win the game. It's go out and completely try and shut you down and dominate you. That's what, to me, Michigan believes themselves to be a run-the-ball defensive team. And that's great. It works. But I think when you're playing a team like Washington, who is the anomaly in the circumstance, that has 3 elite wide receivers, that has a quarterback that can make every throw, who's seen every coverage, every front, every rotation, whether it be pre-snap, whether it be mid-snap, I think, again, you have got to take what Michigan is giving you. For Michigan, a field goal is a win in this game. Mm-hmm. It's damn near impossible to stop Washington in between the 20s. There's too much space. But when they get down into that red zone, right, even the green zone, whatever you want to call it, can you limit them to field goals? Because I think Michigan will be able to score enough where a field goal is a legitimate win against a Washington team that I think is going to have to score touchdowns probably on 75% of their possessions. So how do you go about that if you're Michigan out of the rip, right off the rip? Are you gonna just pound it downhill, play slow the whole game, limit possessions, or will you get up and then limit possessions? And then if I'm Washington on defense, there's just no way in hell that I am not loading the box, especially against heavy personnel where you got to match it, where I am not loading the box and saying, J.J. McCarthy, if you're going to beat me, beat me. And you know what? I think Washington could load the box and still not be able to stop the run. Mm-hmm. I really believe that. Yeah. But if I'm Washington, I am going to make it, and J.J. McCarthy's showing you, I didn't think J.J. played well last week. Mm-hmm. I don't think he did. I am going to make J.J. McCarthy beat me with his left as much as humanly possible. And that's not just running man, because what scares the hell out of me is if I sit here and run man, right, and I load everything up, it's harder to stop the run game in man coverage because you've got your back turned a lot. J.J. McCarthy can take off at any given point in time, and if my back's turned, I'm in trouble. So I'm going to try and load the box and play as much zone as humanly possible to help me out in the run game and limit the big plays if J.J. McCarthy gets outside the pocket.
I mean, yeah, I agree with both of you, but one thing we didn't talk about is us playing clean football, and that's turnovers. You go back to the Michigan-Alabama game. Special teams almost should have cost Michigan this football game. Who can play better on third down on offense, and what defense can show up when it matters most. No turnovers, no penalties, no mistakes in special teams. That's a recipe, in my opinion, for Michigan to be successful in this game. If you can stay clean, no holding calls on important third downs, and you can do what you do and fall into your identity, because you can dress this up as much as you want to, this game will be won up front on both sides of the ball. Can Washington's defense handle the physicality of Michigan's offensive line? Can Michigan's defensive line get to Michael Penix? Not only get to Michael Penix, but push him off the spot. Maybe speed that clock up a little bit in his head to make the little things tougher for Michael, because Michael can make all the throws. This game will be fireworks, in my opinion. I think both these teams will show up for this game. The moment won't be too big for either of these teams in this game. And it goes down to, in my opinion, who will win you the game, and that your quarterback. J.J. McCarthy or Michael Penix, who can make the play when the pressure is the highest. We've seen both do it, and we see J.J., as recently in the Alabama game, make that play too, so that'll be interesting.
Well, here's one caveat. I think Washington wants their quarterback to be the one to make that big play at the end, to have it all on his shoulders. I don't think Michigan wants that to be J.J. McCarthy. I think they want to take it and this isn't saying J.J.'s a bad player, but I would take Michael Penix over J.J. McCarthy. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. But the run game helps you take it out of his hands somewhat. And you talk about the pass rush, right? Alabama, this is the most sacks they've ever given up in a year. So while Michigan's pass rush is really good, let's not act like Alabama's offensive line is the Great Wall of China here. Washington's offensive line won the Joe Moore Award. And they didn't win the Joe Moore Award just because they're lining up running power and counter down your throat. They won the Joe Moore Award because they're incredible in pass protection, which obviously helps out when you have a quarterback that gets rid of the ball as fast as Michael Penix does. It slows down people's pass rush, gets their hands up quick, which you knock them down as an offensive lineman. But I think it's the versatility of this Washington offensive line. That could be the saving grace to keep Washington in it. Because to me, if I'm Washington, I just want to change. I want it to be a one-possession game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's to me, when I know that I may not be able to control the tempo with that new clock rule on the ground and my possessions may be limited. That's what I find fast.
I think Michigan's completely fine with J.J. McCarthy being the guy with the ball in his hand at the end, but I agree that Michael Penix Jr. will be the best player when he steps on the football field. And anytime you have the best player when you step out there, you're giving yourself a chance.
Without a doubt.
Right? Now, one of the reasons that I don't feel like Michigan needs to pitch backwards as much as they needed to against Alabama and especially against the Buckeyes is because, one, we know running the football is their identity, so I'm fine with them doing that from the jump. But then also with Washington, yes, they've been more physical than a lot of people expected. I did my due diligence heavy on Washington's defense before I put them in the college football playoff this year because that was the side of the ball people had the most questions. So I knew they would be improved. Having said that, they gave up over 110 yards rushing in 12 of their 14 games this season. One of those that they didn't was against Michigan State. That was a disaster. The other was against Washington State when Cam Ward was running around and, throwing for 300 yards through the air. So over 200 yards twice. That was the first game against Oregon, and then they gave up 203 against USC. So they'll give up yards on the ground, and that plays into Michigan's strength. So do that. On the other side of that, Dylan Johnson, how healthy is he? Because, we talk about how great Blake Corum is. Dylan Johnson's had more yards on the ground on fewer carries this year. That's been an awesome counter punch for what Washington does.
That's their change
on offense. And the back half of the season, their drop back percentage went down and their yards per game rushing went up. I hope he's healthy just so that we can see Washington, at full throttle. The reason I didn't bring up special teams is because that hasn't been a problem for Michigan all season. I think that was an anomaly. Michigan better hope that was an anomaly last week. I think it had more to do with a month-long layoff. Those were the mistakes that almost cost them. When you look at the mistakes that cost Alabama with the low snaps and things like that, those are problems we had seen throughout the year. So, of course, that's going to give you a headache going into the championship game. I didn't see Michigan make a single special teams blunder all season, and it got so bad I didn't know if they were going to make a PAT to even send it to overtime. I think it goes without saying you can't play like that in that other third of the game phasing and still win a championship.
Without a doubt. All right, let's see what the Booster Club thinks.
Let's go to Garrett Edwards. He says, are you more scared of the Michigan defense or the Washington offense?
I'm more scared of the the Washington offense just because if you were asking me to compare who am I more scared of from a defensive perspective, Washington's offense or Michigan's offense, to me it would be Michigan's offense because I feel like, again, you can dictate the tempo and the tone of the game. You can limit possessions. You can cut one of the arms off offensively by sitting on the ball. You're not shutting down Washington. Like that. As good as Minter is, as much as Michigan's kind of evolved athletically in the back end to be able to run with guys from Bama, and obviously they'll be able to run with the guys from Washington somewhat, but you're not stopping them with all the weapons they have. What you do hope is to contain them somewhat in the red zone, hold them to field goals. But I'm much more worried, right, about a offense than I am defense in this scenario. So I'll go Michigan's offense. Washington's offense, versus Michigan's defense in that context. But if we're going to compare which offense scares me more, the Michigan offense or the Washington offense, it's the Michigan offense. Because it's one thing for you to hit a couple big plays in the air, right? It's another thing for you to sit on the ball for 12 plays and eat 8.5 minutes, right? And keep your defense off the field as well to keep them fresh because it's a 2-for-1. That's what would worry me the most.
All right, let's go to Voltar. He wants to know, does this game remind you of the LSU Natty back in 2019 where an elite offense with an okay defense can win the game?
I mean, somewhat. There's some elements to that. I wouldn't say that Washington's defense is just okay. I think they're better than just okay, even though, again, I said last week, stylistically, the Alabama-Michigan matchup wasn't a great matchup for Michigan. They were able to survive even when they didn't play well. I think it's the exact opposite this week. I think that the matchup favors, stylistically, Michigan in what they're able to do. Now, when you look at that 2019 as good as Michael Penix Jr. is, and Rome and Polk and McMillan, and both those offensive lines won the Joe Moore Award, right? There are some similarities. I still think that 2019 LSU team, at least to this point, with Justin Jefferson, with Jamar Chase, with those cats they had running around, I mean, that's rare air. So there are some similarities, but it's not exactly the same.
Yeah, and I know their defense wasn't great, LSU was, but look at some of the guys they had running around.
Yeah.
Devin White.
They didn't suck.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Dad?
They beat Clemson in the national championship. Mm-hmm. Who was playing quarterback in 2019 for Clemson? Was that Trevor Lawrence as a freshman?
Trevor.
Yeah, it was a young Trevor, right?
No, because he won it as a freshman, didn't he?
Yeah, he was.
I can't remember.
No, he beat Bama.
Yeah, but it was Trevor. Trevor lost
Sophomore.
LSU.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they played well on offense. I mean, they played well, but LSU had 11 NFL players on their offense. Let's go to Eric Hendricks. He says, Alabama said make JJ beat us with 2 minutes left to go in last week. Bama's defense is much better than Washington. Going to be hard to stop Michigan.
Yeah, and I'm not saying J.J. McCarthy's a bad player, but I think if you watch that game in its totality, I don't think J.J. played that well. I mean, let's be honest. You had a tip pass that didn't stop spiraling, that Roman Wilson made an incredible play on. I want to give J.J. credit for that, right? I didn't think they ran him enough. I didn't think either team ran enough quarterback design runs, but I'm not looking. That first play still worries me, David, from last week.
Yeah.
It's, again, and it's one play, but in a game that's decided by 3 to 5 plays, the fact that you went out there, you had man coverage, which I'm sure you probably thought you were going to get. You ran your play action, right? I can't remember if it was play action or sprint out. Was it sprint out?
Yeah.
It was sprint out. Your first read is there, wide open on the out-breaking route. Wanted an easy throw, easy completion to get you in the game, get to 2nd and 3. Not only did you not throw it when it was there, you waited and then threw it, didn't see the defender that sunk back and tried to midpoint the ball when you were sprinting out to that side. That worries me a little bit. But, I mean, J.J. McCarthy's got dog in him. Yeah. I'm not saying he doesn't. But I would still.
There have been huge games where people sold out and said, let's make this kid beat us rather than
Ohio State.
Yeah, and he did. So I've seen him do it. What you're talking about, though, unlike the special teams blunder, some of J.J. McCarthy's mistakes with some of the missed throws and especially the opening play like you're talking about, those aren't necessarily new problems. Now, I think the kid's still thrown for 22 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's a high-class
and 4
problem.
interceptions. So, look, all of the capability to beat you is still there. But it goes when you're trying to game plan, it's like you're trying to say, like, okay, what gives us the best chance? Who on the other side is most likely to make a mistake? Well, it's not Blake Corum. It's not you selling out on Blake Corum and the run game and like forcing a fumble for 4 of the 5 drives, right? Like that's not really what is the best most high percentage play for the Washington defense. So look, they're going to have to pick their spots and do all sorts of stuff, but making J.J. McCarthy force a throw because he has some gunslinger in him and thinks he can make every throw because usually he can, and that leads to a tipped interception, that gives you a better percentage chance to get the football back to me.
Did you just feel like every week with Michigan, the game plan is, hey, stack the box, make J.J. beat us? And then people stack the box and then J.J. beats them?
Well, but has he, though?
See, I don't think Bama really stacked the box like that.
I think you go back and look at that last drive. JJ made a hell of a couple plays on that last drive. Yeah, when he ran and got 17 yards, I believe, on a 3rd down or a big 2nd down.
And that was the only time they called quarterback design run.
Yeah.
It was, and actually, I went back and watched it. It was actually trap. It wasn't quarterback power because they did have a kick-out block on the 5 take.
Well, I think, I think JJ has got a little bit of Jackson Pollock in him. Like, he's better when stuff just is going wild. Like the trick play, right? You toss it, he throws it back to you. It's a bad throw that would have been a fumble. You jump up with one hand and catch it, turn around just in time to whip it down the field. Sometimes, some guys, it's like baseball, man. Like, some of the best plays you make in the field are when the ball's hit so hard you don't have time to think. Like, you're just reacting. I feel like JJ is so much better when he's just reacting. Not that you want there to be a ton of chaos, but it's like JJ is better within chaos than he is with the, hey guys, we're going to go get this. They're going to give us this. It's going to be methodical. I'm going to go through my progressions. It's like JJ's better when it's like a NASCAR driver, right? I feel like NASCAR drivers are guys who are just better when it's like,
like, on 4th down, too. Remember the 4th
That's what I'm saying. Like,
when
JJ's
he needed
better.
it most, he hit Blake Corum for a huge game.
Yeah, JJ's better when there's chaos.
He's better in the storm.
Yes.
That's where he is.
In the eye
He's not afraid of the storm,
storm,
right? He learned how to dance in the rain.
Yeah.
All right, that's where he wants to be. All right, let's go to David S. He said, #AskCranico.
The OG Booster Club members here.
Washington has been incredible offensively, but has been notoriously slowed down in the second half of football games. Will this be costly against Michigan's defense?
It's so hard for me to say how I think the second half is going to go when I haven't been able to watch the first half. But if I were to guess, it's a game of adjustments. Everybody talks about the game plan. All you've heard all week is about the game plan. You want to know the thing that's more important than the game plan? It's the halftime adjustments.
Yeah.
That's the main game. That's the whole attraction. Because the game plan is great. You have what you think they're going to do. You know what you want to do. You have your cool little script of 10 to 12 plays where you feel protected, dangerous, but also safe. And then that goes away. And now they may be doing something totally different than what you thought. It may be a mix of what you thought and what you didn't think, right? You may not be operating the way you wanted to operate within your game plan. So it is a game of adjustments. Football is like life. It is a game of adjustments. And how you adjust when you're 25 years old is going to dictate how you are when you're 50 years old. That's just part of it.
But one of the benefits for the way Washington plays offense is they're a little more built to come from behind multiple scores. Now, Michigan came from behind last week, but that was the first time we had seen them trail all season in the second half.
Well, that's why I wonder, is Washington going to take the ball? If you win the toss, if I'm Washington, I'm taking the ball.
I think so. That's your best unit, and it would be better for them to get off to a good start early. Maybe you could possibly force Michigan out of that run game, even though I will say that drive with 4.5 minutes left last week, when you haven't scored in the entire second half, Alabama has shut you out. Never did Sherrone Moore abandon the run game.
Well, I just feel like Washington can... Their only chance to dictate the tempo and the pace is if they get out front.
Well, what's a bigger statement, in my opinion? Washington going to score a touchdown? Or are you sending your defense out there and just holding Michigan to a 3-and-out first drive?
Well, that's all
that
great.
Happens, that'd be huge.
I know.
Well, yeah, that's all great and good. But what happens if you send that defense out there and it's just like, oh my God!
What happens
like
if
the
you
whole
send
way
that
down the field?
What happens
and then
if you send that offense out there and that happens?
It's exactly like we thought. Isn't that what TCU did? Didn't TCU
They went down and scored.
I can't remember who got the ball first. I just remember the first big moment was Michigan drove down and ran the reverse at the 5.
Yeah, I'm talking about TCU, Georgia. I think
I thought you meant TCU.
No, I think TCU sent their defense out there first or something like that.
Wasn't it 7-7?
And Georgia just like started ripping limbs off and just running around.
There's two more things that bode well for Michigan. One, like I said, you had your tight game last week. Can't be repeated again, but I think they'll go into this playing a little more free, and Washington played nearly perfect against Texas. They're going to have to replicate that. But Michigan also still has in their mind what happened against TCU a year ago in the semifinal. So it's not a situation where it's like, oh, we're going to play more free because we've already got this one in hand.
Well, Michigan's got the best experience possible. They've lost as a favorite and lost as an underdog. There's no more surprises.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to lack experience on either side. All right, one more quickly. Remember, if you donate, it's on topic. We're going to read it. If not, we'll read it at the end. Let's get one more in the Booster Club and then move on to Best of.
All right, speaking of donations, go to Nick Dobbs with a $10 donation. Nick, appreciate it, man. He says, feed Blake Corum 1,000,000 times, and I hope he holds up to 6'5" again. We need Nebly seals the deal with a touchdown. Hashtag go blue.
I think I'm going to know within the first 2 drives, like how this game's going to go with Michigan up front. Like if Blake's just if they're just giving you peanut butter and jelly you would think they'd go heavy 12 personnel, right? Early in this game, they win 11 against Bama, which I understand. Mm-hmm. Bama's got the cats up front that you feel like can run with you. Not that Washington doesn't, but they don't have as many of them as what Alabama had.
But what they score on the last play in overtime, 22 personnel.
Yeah. It's at some point, like, is Michigan going to be like, hey, we're just going to use gravity and science?
If you're Michigan, you want this to be the most boring national championship.
That's exactly right.
Ever.
But you called overtime. You called overtime in the last game in maybe the middle of the third.
Yeah, well, it's just like you get a feel of like, okay, like this game's going this direction, this game's going. You knew, like last year, Georgia TCU, you knew in the first 3 drives, like this is going to be the ass beating of a lifetime. And
we won a bunch of money.
Yeah, we did win a bunch of money, which again, I wasn't upset about. Like I won a ton of money.
Speaking of which, I see you got some purple underneath over there.
Do I?
What's all that about?
Oh, just every good story needs a villain, David.
Are you serious?
What are you doing right now?
Wow. Every good story needs a villain, David.
You're a communist, aren't you?
Wow.
Hate America.
See, I knew you had that Starbucks in you.
Love wearing a Washington shirt.
Well, if you want to buy a Washington shirt, or maybe you want to sell a shirt that has the word Washington on it, there's only one company that you need to use. The global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. That's Shopify. Hit that beautiful note there, David. That's right. When you hear that, you're not playing a game of Super Mario. You just became super duper rich. Have people ask me all the time, I'm starting a podcast, starting this, I'm starting that. There's a million things to do. I didn't realize there was a million things to do. Is there any way to streamline it? And yes, there is with Shopify. From the launch your online shop stage all the way to did we just hit 1 million orders? Shopify's there to help you grow. Our marketing team here uses Shopify every day to sell our merch, and we love how easy it is to add more items, all right, ship products, and track conversions. They do everything. They make it unbelievably easy. All right, so if you're overwhelmed, if you want to start something, but you don't know if you're going to have the time or the capability, you need to look into Shopify. And right now, you can sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/crane. That's all lowercase. It's CRAIN. That's shopify.com/crane, CRAIN. Now, to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in, go to shopify.com/crane. All right, let's get to best and worst, Dave.
All right, who wants to start?
I'll start off. Some college hoops this weekend. We're going to get to the NFL. Obviously, there was absolute craziness. Want to give a shout out to these following teams. This is my best. Texas Tech went on the road. Huge win over Texas, a ranked Texas team. For Texas Tech, I know Jan from Lubbock was absolutely in love with that. Auburn went to Bud Walton Arena and absolutely roasted
Y'all didn't
Arkansas.
have to do them like that.
A 32-point dub. Hashtag couldn't believe it. You don't really ever win at Bud Walton Arena, let alone win by a dirty 30. And that's what Auburn did. Last time Auburn went in there, their number 1 in the country got beat. Musselman took his shirt off.
Well, that's right.
Yeah. I'm surprised Bruce didn't take his shirt off. Kentucky, nice win on the road at Florida in a really tough environment. They were down most of the game, came back with a minute and a half and won. Then Seton Hall. Fellas, Seton Hall's not ranked, but they just beat their 3rd-ranked team in the last 4 games. Let me tell you who they've beaten. All right, they just beat Marquette at home by 3. The week before, they went on the road and beat number 23 Providence. Marquette was ranked 7th. And a week before that, they beat UConn at home by 15. Watch out for Seton Hall, guys. The Pirates close one of those eyes and open up another. Surprise, surprise.
I love it.
All right, one of my bets, obviously, over the weekend, if you watched NFL football, you got to give some kudos and give your flowers to DeMeco Ryans.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the Texans. DeMeco Ryans joins a small group of coaches to make it to the playoffs the first year, and it's been fun watching DeMeco. You want to talk about a guy who I enjoyed watching play.
He's a star.
watch him play at Alabama. I watched D'Amico Ryans make 15 tackles and 2 picks with a club on his hand against Auburn. Then he goes to the 49ers. You see the success there. He gets that head coaching job. Good for him. Good for C.J. Stroud, who absolutely balled again. You go on the road against the Colts. A win you had to have, a drive you had to have. D'Amico and CJ answer the bell. And my other one, I'm going to go Baker Mayfield, baby.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, NFC South champs. I mean, give it up. 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, better numbers than Patrick Mahomes. A lot of people doubted you, Baker. A lot of people, but now who's grabbing their nuts on the sidelines now, big dog? That's you. Keep it up. Good for Baker.
It is incredible. I mean, the Saints should have won that division, which we'll get to them in a minute, but it really is incredible what he's been able to do. That's 3 straight division titles for that team after Tom Brady has retired. Also talking about the Texans, Nico Collins.
Ball.
He's come on this season. Truly incredible. All right, my first best, the AFC North. The AFC North, all 4 teams in this division finished the season with a winning record. I think that's the first time that has happened in NFL history. Even the bottom of the pack, the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow going down, finished 9-8. Obviously, you have the number 1 overall seed who's going to get that first round bye with the Ravens. Cleveland Browns, your franchise quarterback who you paid more money to than anyone else in the league, he goes down. Joey Flacco comes in. You're 11-6. Even with a week to go, you know you're playoff bound in the wild card. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers, 10-7. I know we had some Steelers fans calling in all season saying, hey, like, you know, what Spike Tomlin's doing, this average, you know, barely having a winning record every year isn't enough. He's 10-7 right now and going to the playoffs again, and I guarantee you no one wants to play him.
Well, I mean, now, I mean, your reward is, guess what, Steelers? You get to go and have a nice little trip to Buffalo to play the Bills, which that was my second best. As bad as the Bills started, you're able to come back, not only make the playoffs, but win the AFC East for the 4th straight year. Just an incredible accomplishment. Look, Sean McDermott, some people were calling for his head. I think it's understandable the way the Bills, you know, were playing, but I think they've turned it all the way around. This window is closing with Diggs and Allen and some of these pieces they have. I think James Cook ended up being an unbelievably valuable pickup. I just tell you what, man, I like the Bills' momentum.
Huge for them. Swept the Dolphins. Go ahead and add the Dolphins to the worst too, right? I don't like you have a chance to win the AFC East for what, the first time since like 2008, something like that. You're in the driver's seat. You're putting up 70 points against teams. 0 in the second half. 0 points. You get swept by the Bills. Look, it's bad. And you could have hosted the Bills again. And if there's a team that would benefit most in the playoffs from having home field advantage, it would be the Miami Dolphins. Congrats. Now you're going to go on the road and play the defending Super Bowl champ.
I see you brought up the Browns. I mean, let me give a shout out. Big shout out to Jake Browning.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Jake Browning.
He's winning in all aspects.
He's talking about the Bengals, right?
If you know, you know.
A couple other bests here. Puka Nacua.
Man.
Puka Nacua, man, sets the rookie record for not only catches, but also yards. And the yardage record stood for over 60 years, something like that. This shows you, man, when success is opportunity meets talent, right? Like he was drafted 5th round out of BYU, put in a perfect situation. Probably doesn't have this type of season if he goes to, say, the Carolina Panthers, but the talent was there. Sean McVay knew what he saw in this kid, drafted him. It's been incredible. Also, Chris Jones got his $1.25 million incentive with the double-digit sacks.
Talking about playing hard.
And all of the whole team was like supporting that, right? Like that was awesome to see. And my last best, Jeff Collins is going to be the defensive coordinator at North Carolina.
There you go, Jeff.
Let's go, baby.
And you know what? He already told us to come visit, and I already said yes.
I can't wait. Look, Coach Collins, if you've ever met him, you know he's really good football coach, even better person. I hate that it didn't work out at Georgia Tech. Really tough kind of turning that roster over when you go from triple option, trying to bring it, you know, more toward current day. But excited to see him back in it. North Carolina, I'm telling you right now, if you're a fan out there, if you're a Tar Heel fan, I know it's basketball season. You guys just beat Clemson on the road, but I would be super jacked and tan about having Jeff Collins as my DC on the sidelines. He's going to get those guys ready to play. And you won't see a person that cares about his players more than Jeff Collins, and that's the reason he's going to have success. So really excited for Jeff. But I do want to get to worst. And look, I can sit here and talk about the Eagles and how bad it is right now. It's bad.
It is bad.
It's bad. It's like they've lost themselves, right? The spark's not there anymore. You know, they're beat up. A.J. Brown goes out. We've known about the injuries. Jalen's been beat up all year. But I don't know if there could be a worst that I've seen than this guy from Bass Pro Shops. All right, if you don't know, don't play the video yet. I want to set it up, okay? This is in Leeds, Alabama, home of Charles Barkley. So this guy, who obviously is having mental issues, drove his car into a pole outside of the Bass Pro Shops in Leeds, gets out, takes off all his clothes, runs into the Bass Pro Shops, and jumps butt naked into the aquarium. That's right. Who'd have thought the grossest thing in that aquarium would be a human being? Let's go ahead and run this clip. There's a very interesting picture in a very interesting place as well.
That's why you can't let Bama fans have things, man.
How do you know he's a Bama fan?
Oh, my God. He's just naked in the aquarium. He said, I'm ready, come get me. But wait, Billy Mays moment, there's more. Not only does he obviously suffer from other issues that are not just mental. It's not the only place he comes up short. He also tried to climb out and knocked himself out.
No way.
Yeah, knocked himself out. Yeah,
I wasn't ready for the
naked.
The Blaine.
This is like one of those. What's that song like? Savage Garden. It's like lying naked on the floor in a little late. Is that Savage Garden?
Torn.
Who sings that?
That's Torn. Excuse me.
Torn.
Torn.
Yeah. It's like Natalie.
Control room. I'll see how it is. I'll see how it is back there. That's fine. No. That's fine.
What's wrong?
Wait, that's a nice picture. You have a very nice smile.
No, I play the long game.
Oh, that's
good.
But that's my worst, so go ahead, beat that. If you're on audio right now, it just doesn't do it justice.
Okay, well,
I still like to look at that picture and you say beat that. It's not a great situation.
Yeah. Well, that's where your mind. That's where
I will do my best because my worst from the weekend, everything that happened at the end of the Falcons-Saints game. First of all, let's start with Tyrann Mathieu's interception. If he's not showboating down the sideline, he scores on that, right? Yeah. Then to set up, they're at the 1-yard line where he gets tackled. Dennis Allen for the Saints sends out victory formation. Saints are at 41-17 at this point, right? Sends out victory formation. Come to find out later, Jameis Winston asked the offense, do we want to give Jamal Williams the football so he can score his first touchdown of the season? He led the team in touchdowns last season. Everyone said, yes, let's do it. They line up in victory formation. Not like let's just override the coach and call a running play. No, let's line up in victory formation, then hand the football off, score. And obviously, Arthur Smith, the Falcons head coach, had plenty to say about it after the game, which we can get into in a minute. He was fired last night as the head coach after 3 seasons. Yeah, I had to remind myself afterwards when I was just trying to, because everyone had an opinion on this situation, I had to remind myself there's a reason both of the teams involved in this aren't in the playoffs right now. It really is. Like you have guys. I understand you want to get a guy a touchdown. Go talk to the head coach about it and have an honest conversation. But players not calling the plays that the coach is calling, and then here's my thing: if Tyrann Mathieu scores on that interception and the score is exactly the same as it was, Arthur Smith wouldn't be fired up about that, right? Like it's not a score thing. I honestly don't think, and you tell me if you disagree, if the Saints lined up in a running formation in 13 personnel, like we were just talking about, and ran the ball because you want to get a guy, let's say it's an incentive situation. You want to get him his $1 million for having the 10th touchdown of the year or something, and you run the play from the 1-yard line. I don't even think Arthur Smith would be fired up in that situation. It is the NFL. Stop us if you want to stop us. It's the fact they lined up in victory formation and ran the trick play.
That to me is the issue. And listen, I'm all for hey, it's your job to stop me. It is. It's your job to stop them. But there's a kind of a gentleman's rule that if you line up in victory formation, me defensively, I'm not going to hit your quarterback. I'm not going to bowl through the line. And there's an understanding. Guys, the game's over. We can, right at the snap, put hands on each other and let go. It's kind of an agreement amongst teams. The fact that you lined up in victory formation when the game wasn't on the line, right, when you weren't kneeing it out to go to overtime, right, or anything like that, and then you ran the play, that to me, I have a problem with that.
Good to know it wasn't Dennis Allen's call.
It wasn't Dennis Allen's call, but I worry about that more.
Yes, I agree.
Like, I would have rather Dennis Allen be like, you know what, screw Arthur Smith. Falcons suck it. Yeah. That's not what happened. He said take a knee, and an insane Jameis Winston, which if you know anything about Jameis Winston growing up, or anything like that, he is a crazy person. I am not shocked at all that Jameis did this.
Me neither.
I am not.
Jameis is hilarious.
Jameis is, I think, at this point in his career, it's almost like Bill Belichick. Not that Jameis has won what Bill Belichick's done. I think Bill Belichick's just trying to win with the worst team possible, just seeing what he can get away with. I think Jameis is doing the same thing. He knows he's never going to be a perennial starter in the NFL again. It's OVO. right? But you might as well have a little fun on your way out. That's why I like Jameis. I'd like to hang out with Jameis. I don't trust Jameis. I wouldn't want Jameis on my team for this reason. You're the one who there was about to be a huge fight, then it all calmed down, and then you ran and slapped somebody and ran away. Now we're brawling. That's who Jameis is.
I mean, what a better formation to line up in and run a trick play. They'll never see it coming.
What?
At all.
Seen this.
You'll never see it. 48-17, 41-17 agreement. I didn't sign any papers. We're trying to score, dog.
You'd be the first one.
You would be the one
screaming about it.
I would, but I would also do it.
You would be hot and bothered, man. It was a bad situation.
It's not that you did it; it's how you.
Also, it's not like Jamal Williams is some Make-A-Wish kid.
Yeah,
trying to get is some special situation.
He might have made a wish.
You led the team. Why is it taking you this long to get a touchdown?
Well, if we just scored and all the Avengers came out, we got to
get Jamal Williams one.
What if he fumbled and they picked it up and ran it back for a touchdown?
You're good.
The defense. What would have happened then if Jameis falls down, if the ball just goes flying? I know the Saints would have still won, but I don't know, man. How do you come back from? I told you the play. You obviously
can't
knew what
come
I
back,
told
right?
you didn't.
First of all, the question I guess is Dennis Allen going to be the coach next season? They were a Bucs loss away.
How much did that go in the calculation for Jameis in that huddle?
That too.
Hey, and he's fired anyway.
You paid Derek Carr all this money to start in front of me, and he's mid. Disrespectful.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I want out here.
They finished with a winning record down the stretch, still had a shot to make the playoffs. I don't know. If Dennis Allen returns as the coach, Jameis Winston can't be on the team.
Yeah, that was a cripple fight. That's what that was. All right, let's get back to the Booster Cup quickly, and the phone lines are open. All right, I want to get to those quickly. I want to get to the playoff matchups for the NFL so everybody knows what's going on, but quickly.
All right, we got some national championship stuff. And there's Scott Bird, and he wants to know, Michigan controls both lines of scrimmage. They win the turnover battle. Do y'all like the score? He's going with 34-23 Michigan.
Kind of smelling what you're stepping in a little bit. I'm going to wait till the end to give you my prediction, but we're somewhat close.
Somewhat close.
All right, let's go to base. Washington's going to mop the floor with Michigan. Washington 38, Michigan 24. Michigan fans are just salty from TCU and Georgia game. That's exactly how this game will go, too.
Last time Michigan saw purple, didn't work out too well.
Well, first of all, I need some consistency from that commenter. If TCU didn't mop the floor with Michigan, they just lost. So is it going to be a floor mopping, or is it going to be a close, disheartening loss?
Does that say Cuidado?
The Georgia game and the TCU game were very, very separate. Georgia could have beaten Michigan probably by 100 points. So to say this game is going to go exactly like both those did, you already have a problem.
There's no way you can look at this game like Washington can mop Michigan. There's no way.
You don't think so?
I think there's the other way around. I think there's a better chance of Michigan blowing Washington out than Washington blowing.
I agree with that 100%.
I just don't think the other way.
And that's not saying Washington can't win, right? That's not what anybody's saying. But if anybody was going to blow anybody out, I think if you're going to look at it from a non-biased standpoint, right, it would be Michigan probably blowing out Washington as opposed to the other way around. There's more paths to that than the other way around.
All right, let's go to Oh Danny Girl. Does this confirm that DA has no respect in the locker room? They did discuss it with DA and he told him no, and they did it anyway. DA means
I don't know another way to look at this. I don't know. Can you imagine that flying with any? You think they do that to Andy Reid? Hell no, not even close. So I feel like it's a really bad look for the Saints. To me, it's a worse look for the Saints because of the insubordination than the play at the end against the Falcons. Saints fans don't give a damn. They beat the Falcons by 31 instead of 24. They're probably happy about it at the end of the day, but it's just hard to get over. When the head, and I know it's different in the NFL than it is in college. These guys are more friend. There's not a lot of screaming and yelling that goes on in the NFL as opposed to college. But man, it says head coach.
Yeah, I'm sure Arthur Smith is having a terrible time in his bodega somewhere on it.
Yeah, I know when they flew that jet made of antimantic.
Dennis Allen's a big Amazon guy.
Yeah, his father Jeff Bezos.
Let's go to Cody Williamson with a $10 donation. Cody, appreciate it, man. Saints fan here. All for running up the score versus Atlanta. Lining up in the victory to do it is dirty. DA has lost the locker room. It never would happen under Sean Payton. Into the darkness until next year.
Yeah. Maybe make a call to the national championship winning coach if it goes down, and I don't know.
Kalen DeBoer?
All right, let's get to the NFL playoff matchup.
All right, let's do it. We have two matchups on Saturday. We talked about the Cleveland Browns. They're going to go on the road and play the Houston Texans, the first-year coach and quarterback winning the division, hosting a playoff game. Like that defense against whatever everything that C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins and the whole crew's been able to do. That's the first matchup. And then Miami could have been hosting the Bills in the first round of the playoffs. Instead, you're going to go on the road on Saturday to the Kansas City Chiefs. Best of luck.
Yeah, first game to me is a house money game for both teams. I mean, you're the Browns. You made the playoffs. Yeah. Oh, my God. Like, first off, can you believe it? I can't. Every night I've been walking around looking up to make sure it's not a meteor or a comet coming to hit the earth. And then if you're the Texans, how? Didn't expect this.
No.
Year one, future looking super bright, got the stunner shades on. Regardless of what happens, both fan bases feeling good. The Browns do this with Joe Flacco. With Joe Flacco. The human statue, right? Like I'm just telling you right now, man, somebody's got to win, which is great, right? But this is a house money game. Second one, Chiefs fans, you know what they expect, right? They're waiting on the run, even though it hadn't been pretty this year. We'll see. I never discount Andy Reid. I never discount Patrick Mahomes. But then the Dolphins, right? Can you make good on a lot of hope? A lot of hope. Didn't look good against Buffalo, but guess what? You go beat Kansas City, nobody cares. Everybody forgets. It's the great neuralizer from Men in Black. So you got a house money game. I'm telling you right now, I like the Texans just because it's at home. I'm going to default there. I think CJ can make enough plays. I love the Browns defense, but something about CJ Stroud, I just believe. And then I tell you what, man, give me the Dolphins, David.
Really?
Give me the Dolphins.
They did have a nice win over the Cowboys, and then back-to-back losses. The Ravens' loss was particularly ugly. Scored 6 points in the second. Is Waddle
play? Yeah.
Waddle play?
They scored 6 points in the second half of that Ravens game. 0 points in the second half of this Bills game. You can't be the offensive guru, Mike McDaniel, and be getting outcoached in second halves, in my opinion.
I just think the Dolphins need this win, especially after the season you had, all the numbers you're putting up, a 70-plus point game, all the stars. Tyreek Hill break this record. Tua is doing jiu-jitsu now. And I think Kansas City fans and Chiefs, even if you lose this game, I think Chiefs fans will understand.
Chiefs fans got nothing to complain about.
And the way you've been playing this year, you're so up and down and inconsistent on offense. I mean, statistically, one of Patrick Mahomes' worst year of his career of all time. And then you flip to the other game, this Cleveland-Houston game. I think this will be a better game than a Miami-Kansas City game. I really do. Cleveland's defensive line, Myles Garrett, the quarterback, the Slim Reaper, going to get C.J. Stroud, the golden boy in this offensive line for the Texans. We'll see. And Joey Flax is Groot. Basically out there who has an absolute howitzer attached to his shoulder, sling it to two vets, Amari Cooper and Joey Flacco. They know how to get it done. I like Cleveland in that game, and I think Miami wins.
Flacco has the longest face I've ever seen.
Does he?
He has he has the Trevor Lawrence head.
And that Carson Beck head.
What's the island?
The island. What's it called?
I know what you're saying.
What's it called?
You know those big heads?
Control room.
Easter Island?
Easter Island.
What are they called, though? Like the heads, I forgot.
Look, I don't know.
Yeah, bobblehead.
Moao statues.
Moao
Are massive megaliths at Easter Island. So there's
got a mega face.
There's
Joey Flacco looks like the guy 300 years ago. That one picture of the so-called giants. There's a regular sized people, and then Joey Flacco standing in the.
Well, I just feel like if they came out and they were like, "Hey, Joe Flacco's 200 years from now, like Joe Flacco's really 300 years old and is building an ark."
Like Joey Flacco, he was walking around
makes sense.
he was walking around the mall in Miami.
Yeah, he was.
It was just Joe Flacco.
That's why they called the cops.
Now he's got
him
Cleveland.
And Victor Wembanyama.
Got Cleveland in the playoffs. All right. And one other thing on Miami, I'll continue to say it, man. Kudos to Tua Tagovailoa staying healthy for the entire season. Seriously, we had that conversation. Can he stay healthy for an entire season? He has. I think did he throw for the most yards in the league this year? I think he was top 3 one way or another. Hasn't been pretty down the stretch, but
for a guy that's bones are made of bubble gum, it's pretty impressive.
Go on the road, beat Patrick Mahomes. Be a lot of forgiveness. All right, 3 matchups on Sunday. Pittsburgh going to Buffalo. Pittsburgh got in there at the very last second. Green Bay also made the playoffs yesterday. They're going to go on the road to Dallas. And then the Rams going on the road to the Detroit Lions. One of the biggest trades of our generation when Matt Stafford got swapped for Jared Goff. And we know about Sam Laporta at tight end, hyperextended knee yesterday, most likely not going to play in this game. They have some very unfortunate injuries. But this Rams-Lions matchup is going to be one for the ages.
Yeah, you kind of tend to default to the home team, but something about the Rams kind of feel like they're playing with house money to me. That's what it kind of feels like with Matty Staff going back to Ford Field. The Lions haven't been here in a long time. There's a lot of pressure on the Lions. The Rams already got their Super Bowl. Most of these guys that are on this team. I know you got Puka Nacua and some of these other guys who haven't won it. But then I look at the Packers. I just don't think they're going to have enough offensively to be able to hang with the Cowboys. I give Dak Prescott a lot of hell, and I don't trust him in the playoffs. But I've got to make sure and give him his flowers with what they've done here recently. I think him and CeeDee Lamb may be the best connection right now in the NFL. Yeah. I mean, those two guys, they've really figured it out. Why does CeeDee Lamb have to go in the office and tell sitcom dad Mike McCarthy, hey, would you throw me the ball, dog?
I don't know, but I'm glad he did.
Like, he did, then look what happened. Yeah. Like, he's doing so good, they drug tested him after one of the games. But then you look at the first game, the Steelers and the Bills. The Bills may be the last team I want to play right now, to be honest with you. Maybe the last team I want to play right now. And the Steelers offensively, George Pickens has made some plays. Again, they played against a team with their hand tied behind their back last game of the season. Mason Rudolph, I know he's 3-0 as the starter there. Part of me really struggles to trust him. That crowded Buffalo is the closest thing to a college football atmosphere you're going to get. That place is nuts. I like the Bills, man. I'm telling you, I'm starting to feel like the Bills may make the Super Bowl.
It looked as bad as it could get for the Steelers in some of the early games this year. To be 10-7 now and you're in the playoffs, that speaks to coaching to me. Mike Tomlin has done it again. You used a phrase for Houston and Cleveland that I think is very much true for Green Bay, and that is you're playing with house money. You're happy to be there. Imagine making the playoffs right now with Jordan Love, the way he looked yesterday.
And the way you made it.
Like, Jordan Love looked like a guy who could start in this league for 10-plus years, and he was doing it on third down when you need it the most. He's got him in the playoffs. I like Dallas in this game, but again, if you're Green Bay, you have to be very excited about everything that's transpired a year after you lose one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah, I'm going all home teams here, so give me Buffalo, Dallas, and Detroit. Even losing Sam Laporta, if you're the Lions, that offensive line is still really good. That offensive line is extremely healthy.
You got Dan Skipper.
You still have the Sun God. You still have plenty of weapons on the offense. Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery. It's gonna come down to your secondary and your defense showing up. I think they win that game. I mean, Buffalo right now. But the thing about it is, Buffalo's always been dangerous. We know who Buffalo is. It's just been an out of ordinary year for them. That comes with the injuries on defense. But the one thing I'm always looking for when it comes to Buffalo is how is Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs meshing. Right? When these two guys are going, they're going. Stephon had, I think, 90 yards in his last game. You get those two guys going, I believe in Buffalo, and Dallas will just have too much on, and they're at home, too much on both sides of the ball. Well, the Packers, you're playing with house.
Yeah, well, I think the Bills, to your point, I think they have just about as many weapons as anybody. I mean, look, you got Diggs, you got Kincaid, you got Dawson Knox, you got James Cook, Josh Allen's running ability. You got, Shakir's making plays on the outside. The Bills, they can call Gabe Davis. They can call some.
And Gabe Davis was out yesterday. Part of it is looked hard. It's looked harder than it has been in the past when Daboll was the OC. But agreed. We got one more game on Monday night, but first we have some breaking news here. The Washington has fired Ron Rivera. Rivera came on this show, is a fan of the show. They moved on from him, and I think they'll have the number 2 pick in the draft. How do you feel about that?
It's a reset. What do you do with Sam Howell?
Yeah.
Whoever the new guy is, that's what's going to dictate it, right? So I'll be interested to see that. You hate seeing anybody get fired. Ron Rivera's had a very long career in the NFL. Sure, he'll be fine. He'll land on his feet. But I think it's a necessary move from the Commanders.
You like that too?
Yeah, it was time. We love Ron. We have Ron on the show, but it's time for the future to come in for Washington.
Is that an offensive-minded coach?
I think so. Obviously, your front was terrible this year. You got ran over. I think you're the worst team in the NFL.
Well,
giving up rushing yards on defense.
Is it Bieniemy? Were they good enough on offense for Eric Bieniemy to get elevated?
I think so. With Sam Howell, I think so. I think they've shown a lot of potential on offense. What else is out there?
So if you're Washington, because you've been big on Sam Howell, and look, he as a rookie, he's come in.
Yeah, it looks great.
Good. Number 2 pick in one of the deepest quarterback classes we've seen. You guys taking a quarterback? You trading back? What?
I think Sam Howell's shown enough, where you want to give him some run a little bit. You look at Dotson, you look at McLaurin, you look at Brian Robinson Jr., Curtis Samuel, Antonio Gibson. You got to get better up front. There's some areas on the defense, obviously, where you have to get better. You let Chase Young, send him to the Niners. I get that. And I want to make this point about Eric Bieniemy before we move on and get to calls. I think Eric Bieniemy should get the job, and it has nothing to do with the color of his skin. I think he should get the job because he's a guy that was around an unbelievably successful organization with one of the most brilliant offensive minds of all time in Andy Reid, and he was a huge part of that and helped Andy Reid out a ton. He cut his teeth there. He went somewhere else to kind of get out under that umbrella. I thought he did enough with Sam Howell. I think he deserves a chance, and that has nothing to do with him being white, black, blue, green, or whatever. I think he has bided his time. I think he has earned this shot, and I think the Redskins should give him a shot.
Yeah, that should go without saying. It's terrible that it doesn't.
I do think you trade that pick, though.
The second?
Yeah.
Well, if you're not going to take a quarterback.
If you're not taking a quarterback, I mean, you get a bunch of picks.
I don't know if you pass on one of these generational guys.
Do you do that, or do you say, all right, just give me Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Marvin's going to be gone.
At 2?
At 2?
Marvin will be gone after 1.
You think?
I think the Bears will draft Marvin Harrison.
You don't think Caleb Williams?
I think the Bears. I think Bears are going quarterback, man.
You think so?
Bears are going quarterback.
Justin Fields said he said his goodbyes just in case.
Well,
it wasn't Derrick Henry now who got the mic and was like, "Hey, I'm out."
Derrick Henry's a real one, though.
Yeah, Derrick Henry is a real one.
All right, one more game quickly. Very interesting here too. Philadelphia, we talked about the least momentum entering the playoffs of any team when they look like world beaters throughout the season is going to go on the road now and play Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks, who ended up winning the NFC South. If it looked like this from the very start with the Eagles because you lost both coordinators and some pieces in the back end of the secondary, then okay. But they looked so good throughout most of the season. It's fallen off the rails here with a veteran quarterback in Jalen Hurts and with Kelsey and a lot of these guys up front. What do you make of their chances to go on the road and beat a Bucks team that, we didn't expect to be in this position?
Well, to quote Austin Powers, it feels like you lost your mojo. That's what it seems like with the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles used to, the intimidation factor of the Eagles just rolling out there. You used to beat people. I mean, you look at that front seven that the Eagles had scares people to death. It really doesn't do that anymore. Philadelphia really doesn't have that element to them right now. And I tell you what, you go down to the Buccaneers that are just scraping to survive, winning 9-0 on the road at Carolina. This is a grimy team. This is a gritty team. I think it'll be low scoring, but I can't trust Philadelphia right now. I can't, regardless of how gritty and not high flying I think the Buccaneers are. I can't trust the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I've came on the show multiple times and said you can't trust the Eagles secondary. Mm-hmm. You can't. I mean, especially with Darius Slay banged up. I mean, that's your go-to guy in the secondary. I mean, and if you're right now, the weird thing about it when it comes to the Eagles is your offensive line's healthy. Your guys are good to go. I think there's some beef with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. Really? And that something feels off with these guys. It just doesn't look the same. And right now, you're going to against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that has just been grinding out wins.
Yeah.
Grinding and just finding their way to win games, football games late in the fourth quarter. And that's just a tough team. The Buccaneers and the Browns right now are two teams I do not want to see in the playoffs because they play good defense and they have weapons on offense. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Baker playing the way he is. You have pieces right now, but this could be a surge game for the Eagles. Right, if the Eagles come out and you win this game, that momentum starts to build. You still have the offense to beat.
Yeah, it just feels like the Browns, and I know we need to get to calls, but it just feels like the Browns and the Bucks are the guys who go up to the plate with no batting gloves on. You always worry.
It's the guys you don't want to fight.
You just always worry about those guys.
Yeah.
You're out of here with no batting gloves on. It's like when you see a 60 defensive lineman with no sleeves and no gloves.
You're not pushing the fastball by.
Yeah, just dude, this is going to be a battle, man. Damn.
All right, let's go to calls. I got Michael on the line in Texas. Michael, how you feeling?
Mikey.
Morning, guys.
Morning,
Mike.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Yeah.
Today's the day.
One more.
I don't want to talk about the game a little too much, just because as far as breaking it down, because I think everything you guys have talked about has been. I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but just some interesting tidbits that I learned that I want to share with you guys.
Yeah.
First off, I don't know if you guys saw what the uniform combination Michigan is wearing tonight.
All blue.
All blues. That first game that we debuted.
Washington.
All blues.
Washington in the big house.
We won that game.
Yep.
Yes,
I think we're 16-1 in those. Maybe is that what I heard?
Something along the lines. I think the Georgia game was the only game we lost.
We didn't have those, man. We didn't have those when I was there.
Yeah.
We always wore maize pants.
I thought we'd go traditional too. I thought it makes sense, but I don't mind this combination either, especially when we're playing against Washington. And they're
Look,
seeing those.
Just don't get cute on offense. Don't get cute on offense. If you're gonna get cute with the jerseys, don't get cute on offense.
I would just wear the same color jerseys as the field. I'd be like, we're just gonna get some new field colored jerseys made.
Yeah, I feel good about it, Mike.
Hey, by the way, hold on, Mike. Yeah. Is Michigan's end zone black?
I thought they were both black.
I think
right?
they both are.
Are they both black?
Look, man, we need to take a lot of things.
Black?
We need to take a lot of things from the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl does everything right.
That was a bad move.
Yeah,
I don't think that's not on Michigan. I think that's a stadium thing.
I'm not blaming Michigan. Like, I don't know who did it. Like, why they got Voldemort out here picking the end zone colors.
But one other thing. So this is just me personally. My birthday, I was born December 31st, 1992. The very next day, Michigan played Washington in the Rose Bowl and beat them behind Tyrone Wheatley running forward 200 yards, 3 of them on like 75-yard plus touchdown runs. So personally, to me, this could be a full circle moment.
Wow.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, as a Michigan fan for a long time, and I've said this last week, games like the Alabama game, we normally don't win, and the way we came back, it's got me thinking, you have that feeling that this could be your year. I have that feeling right now. I mean, Washington's great offense. They deserve to be there, but sometimes it doesn't matter who you face or how good they are. It just seems to be your year, and I believe this is it.
Well, Michael, I need you in that live stream chat tonight, all right? I need some good energy. It's going to be 4.5 hours of the boys right here
I'm bringing some great energy too, Mike.
Look, we're going to make sure he doesn't, negatively curate your comments, but I need you in that chat tonight.
So let me lay down a bet between the two of you, since Blaine, you got that shirt on there.
I'm listening.
Let's say the winner, whoever wins this game tonight, the loser between the two of you has to wear a shirt like that, either tomorrow or however soon you can get that shirt in to wear it for a live stream.
Absolutely, 100%. I'll do that.
I tell you what, Michael, I'll do you one better. I think the loser has to pull what old boy did at Bass Pro Shops.
No.
That's what I think.
We're going to need a bigger face.
All right, Mike, we're going to hang up on that one.
Not
buddy.
for me.
Yeah.
We can keep
that water's cold.
Yeah, man. It's the air. It's the air in here.
Oh, appreciate it, Michael. All right, let's go to we got John in Birmingham, Alabama. How you doing, John?
So what up? You guys talk about Bass Pro Shops. That was in Leeds, by the way, not Birmingham. I don't want anybody talking.
There you go.
There you go. Leeds is a suburb of Birmingham, John. Don't cap.
Unless it's Buc-ee's. I love it.
Yeah, but anyway, so I was calling because I wanted to talk about bowl games. We're talking about, they're meaningless, whatever. But, man, I don't know, nobody really talks about, the fan experience. I was in Nashville for the Music City Bowl. I mean, that was just a great freaking time, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
unless you're an Auburn fan during the game, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I was, sitting there freezing the whole time. But after, went down to Broadway, had fun, forgot about the game.
Mm-hmm.
And we also went to there was a watch party for Auburn basketball, so they're good now. So that's good.
Thanks, Bruce.
It's just it's just a great time, man. I mean, for the athletes as well, and the cheerleaders and the band and all that.
That's the part.
The fan
that's
base
the
getting together and
that's the part, John, that I think
when
you're looking at it from a 30,000-foot view, when we're talking about making the bowl games. Are they meaningless now? There's a lot of those experiences that I think people either haven't been to a bowl game, or you watch some of these bowls on TV and there's 9 people there and you're like, this is such a waste of time. We talk about NIL and all this stuff, but there are some really good stories that in some of these bowl games, these destinations are really cool places. I mean, I remember, and it's a little bit different when I was at South Alabama because we were a brand new startup program. That was our goal, was to make a bowl game. And the fact that we made the Camellia Bowl being the fastest Division I team ever to make it, even though it was in Montgomery, is against Bowling Green and Dino Babers before he went to Syracuse. That was a huge deal. Now, I do have a couple ideas, I think, that could make the bowl games not more meaningful, but more entertaining. And outside of the New Year's Six and the College Football National Championship, obviously, and maybe the New Year's Six if you wanted to go that way, I think celebrations should be legal. like in the NFL. I think there should be no bowl tie-ins. I think that would make it more interesting. You'd get different matchups. You'd get different teams in different places. I think there's things, within contractually what you can do with NIL as well. There's stipulations that I think we'll have down the road. So there's some things that we can do. But I tell you, if you haven't been to a bowl game and there's one near you, there's some that are a lot of fun to go to.
Mm-hmm. John, I agree with you when you say none of these bowl games are meaningless. No opportunity to go out and compete on the gridiron is meaningless. I take flag football seriously. And for these younger guys, my dad said this when we were watching some of these bowl games. Imagine the opportunity for some of these young guys who get a chance to go in and play. They may not get another opportunity. Some of them may even be seniors, and it was their last chance. It's almost more like a preseason exhibition than a postseason reward. I've also never been in the camp of now there's too many bowl games. I do understand the argument, and I certainly understand that 6-6 is not any sort of reward. You did basically the bare minimum by going 500. But again, we all love football. I'd love to see as many bowl games as possible.
Without a doubt.
There's two problems that I have. One, the hostile takeover really when it comes to these bowl names with the corporations. It's just out of control right now. We used to have the Cotton Bowl and the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, and it can be presented by a sponsor. Some of these names are just it's laughable and it's hard to take it seriously. And then the second part of it, if you're going to have a couple college football playoff games, then it makes all the other games, especially even the old school New Year's Six bowl games, it's terrible to see those get watered down from people in my generation. When you see guys opting out of the Cotton Bowl, I get it if it's the Bahamas Bowl and you're the number one overall pick, but 20 guys opting out. Like, most of you aren't even going to make an NFL roster. I hate to say it. Like, you're not going to sign a second contract. I get it. Go get all the money you can on the first one. But, play as much football as possible. They need to fix it. And I think if we can move it up earlier in the season, that'll be more helpful.
You want to talk about bowl I'm not opting out of, and that's the Bahamas Bowl. I'll tell you that right now.
I got to shoot that ball. I got to shoot video at that Bahamas Bowl. It was awesome.
Day 3 of practice.
Well, David already brought up flag football, so that's a low blow at my Achilles. I don't know that.
I was talking to my friends about apparently like the Birmingham Bowl and the Bahamas Bowl like have the same tie-ins. It's like, why? Like, how? One is a way better reward than
as if the Bahamas Bowl.
Who'd want to go to the Bahamas? The Pop-Tart Bowl was funny.
Yeah,
Pop-Tart
was funny. It was funny. And as if it couldn't get any better for the Bahamas Bowl, the time I went and worked it was sponsored by Popeyes. I mean, look.
Come on
chicken
now.
on the sideline. It was an awesome experience. And the team, it was Eastern Michigan against someone else. Had a great time.
That's my heaven. That's my heaven.
But I agree with it, John.
Great call, John.
But my favorite bowl game, favorite bowl game
Go
name that Jake came up with a couple years ago, the Lake Martin Who Gives the You-Know-What.com.
That's exactly right. The Lake Martin FoolSlew.com Bowl.
And you know who played in that one? That was the Jolly Boys and the Get Along.
Yeah, we all know the Jolly Boys.
Physical matchup.
The Jolly
Jameis
Boys
Winston
and the
quarterback
Get
for the
Along
Jolly Boys. Who knows what's going to happen? Is it an E? Is it not an E?
Appreciate it, John.
All right, John.
All right, let's go to Smoking Gator down in Tampa, Florida. Smoking Gator, how you doing?
Tampa, Kenny.
Good morning, guys.
What up?
Good morning.
Well, first of all, before we get to the main event, let me just say, Tone, good luck to your Wolverines, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Of course. But I do have to let you know that I do have to pull for Washington because of Penix. I got to cheer for the hometown kid,
Do what you got to do, man.
Come home.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're all of a sudden.
Come home.
You're all of a sudden a.
Hey, stop it. This doesn't concern you, sir.
This guy.
I'm gonna smell my Lady Ballers candle.
How you feeling about the game?
Yes.
How you feeling about the game, man?
I feel, well, first of all, as a neutral, it feels great because sure, I'm rooting for Washington, but like I have no investment in this game, so like it doesn't really matter who wins or who loses. At the end of the day, I just want a good game.
Yeah, you're Switzerland right now. I get it.
No.
But anyway, guys, so I have a coin with me, okay, and I'm going to flip it.
Okay, Harvey
If
Dent.
it's heads,
Are you all right?
Exactly.
Are you gonna say justice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Justice, favor.
If it's heads, I'm going to talk about the Bucks winning the NFC South. But if it's tails, I'm going to talk about my Gators missing 11 freaking free throws.
Oh man,
Kentucky.
It's gonna.
Hey,
be
who's
tails.
that
So
big?
here we go.
Who's that big white guy y'all got down low this year? Obviously, Castleman is
They always
gone. Y'all
got
got
one.
another one.
They always
Y'all
got one.
stay with one.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tails.
Y'all stay with some big
be
Woody.
heads.
Y'all stay with some big Woody from Toy Story looking white dude down low. It's like 8 feet
Tails never
tall.
fails. Flip
Heads.
it.
Heads.
Flip it.
Well,
Want to
guys,
hear about the Bucks?
I just flipped it, and it is heads. So
Of course it is, because the other side
hear about the
scribbled
Flip it
out.
again. Flip it again.
Now you blow up Gotham.
Well, guys, when it comes to the Bucks, obviously there was a lot of doubt coming into the season. I mean, I myself predicted them to go 7-10. Now, I never gave us a placement prediction. I'm pretty sure for me it was like I think we're going to go 7-10, and then we'll see where that turns out. And thank God we're in the NFC South, right?
For sure.
But Baker Mayfield proved a lot of people wrong, including me. I mean, I was one of those people saying, before the season started, that Kyle Trask should have started. And is that because of me being a Gator fan? Yeah, there's definitely about bias there. But hey, you know what? Shout out to Baker Mayfield. And we talked about Antoine Winfield Jr. before, and Blaine, you mentioned Tampa having a great defense, and sure, on paper, that's what it says. But brother, I got to be honest with you, looking at this roster on paper, we were tied for 6th in scoring defense. There is honestly no way I thought we were going to be tied for 6th in scoring defense, because when I'm looking at this roster, almost nothing about this roster to me screams top 6 scoring defense. I mean, sure, there's pieces. Obviously, Antoine Winfield has always been a good player, and then there's Levante David, who's up there in age,
Monster.
but he's still very solid. Yeah, but you also got Devin White, who's been a very inconsistent player for his whole career, and then Ryan Neal, who might be the worst safety, the worst defensive back in the entire NFL. Oh my gosh, he was so freaking horrible this year. But listen, Antoine Winfield is probably not going to win defensive player of the year. That's probably going to go to Myles Garrett, and that's well deserved.
Yeah, it's understandable though. I mean,
oh yeah, for sure. And plus, Antoine Winfield is a safety, and safeties just don't win defensive player of the year anymore. But in my opinion, the biggest reason why the Bucks, were a top 6 scoring defensive team was because of the impact that Antoine Winfield made on the field, and I think that's the biggest reason why he has to be strongly considered for defensive player of the year. And then when you look at the Eagles, I mean, what a great matchup for us. I mean, we get the one team that's literally spiraling out of control into the playoffs. So as a Bucks fan, I don't think we could have asked for a better matchup, fellas.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, look, I'm ready to watch it. I'm ready to watch Baker. I just give a lot of credit to those 2 Auburn guys y'all got in the back end, Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis. But maybe that's just
one name you need to bring up. What's his name? Vita Vea.
Oh, Vita Vea.
Vita Vea.
Yeah.
I mean,
speaking of Easter Island,
I mean, you go from Vita Vea, Levante David, to Devin White, to Antoine Winfield.
It's a good
Jr.,
3-level.
And you turn around and you flip to the thing about the Bucks is y'all know who y'all are.
Yeah.
Right? And that's half the battle when you get in the playoffs. I think the Eagles are so.
Y'all are a 7 with a great personality. The Eagles are that really hot chick from high school that drank a lot in college. Now she's obese.
You're loving. You're family oriented. Right now, the Eagles on the street begging for money.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Appreciate it, man. All right, we got 3 more callers. Let's roll through all of them. Rapid fire here. Kirk in Canada. How you doing?
Hey, gentlemen.
Kirky.
Rapid fire. How's it going?
It's going good, man. How cold is it up there?
Minus 10 Celsius.
Minus 10.
That's Celsius. Probably about 17, 18, something like that.
Kirky. It's rough, bud.
Hey, listen. Congratulations to Team United States of America that captured the gold medal in the World Junior Hockey Championship.
That's what, Kirk. That's what
Who did we beat? Who did we beat?
Everybody but Canada. We didn't play you guys. Otherwise, it might have been a different story. Just kidding.
That's right.
No, you guys had a good team.
Yeah.
You beat Sweden on their
Sweden,
ice.
Yeah, we went to Sweden and chopped them up a little bit.
Yeah, that's exactly
we gave Sweden some freedom.
Yeah, come taste that.
So my question is, if Michael Penix Jr. completely balls out and does something extraordinary tonight. What are the chances that he goes first overall in the NFL draft?
Kirk, I love where your head's at. It's what I led the show off with on Friday, and I believe there's a chance that could happen. It just depends on because look, we've talked about what are the Bears going to do. Like with that, if we're talking about truly number one, if you're talking about the first quarterback taken off the board, obviously, we don't know if Chicago will trade that pick, if they're going to stick with Justin Fields, if they want to get Caleb Williams, will they trade it back? I think if Michael Penix goes out and balls, I think he's going to ball at Pro Day. I just wonder if whatever team is going to be in position to take that first quarterback, whether it be the Bears or whether they trade it, are they already dead set on Caleb Williams and there's no way to talk them out of it? I don't know that because I don't know who that is. But I would not be shocked either way. But I expect Michael Penix to have a big night tonight, and I think he's going to be one of the top 3 quarterbacks taken.
Probably between 15 and 20%. Is that fair odds?
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I as you know, I don't watch a pile of football, but I watched on January 1st, and I was completely enthralled in both games. And it was because of you guys, so I just want to say thanks. If it wasn't
Kirk,
I probably wouldn't be watching college ball.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, Kirk.
Hey, that makes me blossom with personal joy.
Yeah.
Kirk, that's the stuff I
You know
like.
what else? You know what else makes me blossom with personal joy?
Oh,
He's pulling up the Flyers win and loss record.
Oh, man.
Sitting at 20-13 right now.
Wow.
I mean, we're third in the Metropolitan. A lot of good things going on.
Metro booming?
Metro booming. Never lie to Metro because we know.
Yeah, that's exactly right. If you don't
Appreciate
trust
it,
you,
Kirk.
You're doing well.
Than's, man.
Yeah, Kirk, you have to send us one of those bear teeth or however
Stay
y'all
warm,
use
Kirk.
for money.
We'll see how this bet plays out between y'all. All right, let's go to Matthew in Arkansas. Matthew, there was a basketball game this weekend.
What's up, boys?
He lives. And you called in talking that
You said
in.
something about locking the gate.
It's half your fault.
Talk about a backfire.
Does everybody want to know what happened on Saturday? I'm going to tell y'all what happened. Arkansas came down to Fayetteville, driving their nice convertible. They had the top down, playing their loud, obnoxious music, disturbing the neighbors. They pull right into Eric Musselman's driveway. They go up to the front door, and they let themselves in. They don't knock or ring the doorbell or nothing. They go in, they walk right on past old Eric Musselman and his wife. They sit down at the couch. They put the TV on their
Don't make him a
favorite
sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
They put their feet up on the nice coffee table.
Yeah.
And they tell Eric Musselman to go make them a sandwich.
Oh,
and while he's at it, go in the icebox and get one of them old cold beers Sammy Boy.
Ooh. Auburn went down to Fayetteville twice, and it was a locker shoving twice.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, but look, it's basketball. Knowing Arkansas, they always start out like 1-5. I will say this. I've watched Arkansas be sloppy and unorganized on offense many years, but they've always made up for it under Muss with physicality, with effort, with grittiness. I did not see that from this team. Like, I've watched Arkansas shoot 33% and make the Elite Eight. Like, I've watched them do that. That was not this team. It was so weird to see, Matthew, Arkansas be soft. And I want to give credit to Auburn. Auburn's a damn good basketball team. They're deep. They're 11 deep. They're huge, and they're physical. But I have never seen Arkansas.
Maybe fast in that conference.
Look, I'm not saying it. You're saying it. I'm not saying it. A lot of time left. A lot of time left.
I mean, it was the worst loss in Bud Walton history.
See, that's the cool thing people won't forget.
It's 32.
That's the cool thing people won't forget.
I don't think we beat the. I don't think we beat the first women's team in Lady Ballers by as bad as what Auburn.
I think we did.
Yeah.
Or was it the second team? I forgot.
It was close.
That's my
Same
song.
score. That was PJ's team.
Justine.
Well, that was Clay Travis-led team.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Tennessee guy.
Great call, Matthew.
Yeah, Tennessee guy.
Never went
All
on
right.
that.
We'll see how it shapes up.
Live stream tonight, y'all.
Yeah,
see you there, buddy.
Sir, be in there.
32 points, people don't forget.
All right, we got one more caller. Let's get to Voltar quickly. Voltar's on the line in North Carolina.
Josh.
Hey, guys, what's up?
What's
What's
up?
up? Cheer up, dude.
I can't believe y'all did Blaine like that. How are you gonna do my big brother like that?
That's dirty.
You know about the Bass Pro Shop space?
Hey, it's
Yeah,
look, I'm Jon
about
Snow
that
every
clip.
day on this set.
Yeah, it's a real
Okay.
underdog story.
Dramatic.
You hooked up with your cousin?
Anyways,
David.
going back
Know where
to
I'm
trust
from?
in the signs, I saw two owls on a power line heading to work Saturday.
Okay.
And I was like, is FAU playing basketball? And they were. And the line was -8 against Charlotte.
I had
who was
this bet
6
too.
and 7. And I was like, oh, this is an easy cover. 2 owls on the power line, that's the sign. And they lost to Charlotte.
This was my first
I
leg
can't
of my
trust the signs
5-leg.
anymore.
Well, you know, it's funny.
Not the same team. They're not
It's
the
funny. It's funny, Valtar. You picked the wrong. This is what gets hard about it.
The
This is
signs.
what happened to you. You saw the Owls. You picked the wrong team. Temple covered against Wichita State by 7.
Wow, you
picked the wrong team.
A
Yeah,
deeper
that's
dive.
the thing. You picked the wrong team.
Life is interpretation.
It is. It's not just the sign that's there. It's how you read it. It's just like, how do blind people see stop signs? I don't know.
Was Helen Keller real? Let's be honest.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
How did she fly a plane?
They can't drive.
How did she fly a plane, Valtar?
But see, like, again, they won by 7. Like, what happened to you that one day? You saw the Blue Jays
I was
in the
trying to
garage
decide.
and you went Kansas instead of Creighton.
I was trying to decide who I was going to pick in my Final Four. It was time to fill out the last part of the bracket, and I went home, and there was a bird's nest on the porch. And I'd been feeling Kansas, and I'm like, okay, that's not a Jayhawk, but I get it. I get what you're trying to tell me, universe, you know? So I put Kansas down.
Yeah.
Let me just give you a little hint. Kansas didn't win it. Meanwhile, my neighbor 2 doors down was walking her brother's husky that week, and UConn won the championship.
Yeah.
Okay, the signs are there. You just have to do your part.
If it was as easy as just looking, I saw a squirrel outside. Squirrel's eating nuts. I'm picking the Buckeyes. Whatever. Like, it's not that easy.
Exactly.
You've got to be able to see it. It's like finding they still haven't found the Zodiac Killer. They couldn't interpret.
They made a
those
movie
signs.
about him, but they didn't.
It's the
find
same
him.
thing. It's the same thing. Except parlays die, not
Hey,
people.
I got one more thing. I'm not a Michigan fan, but I'm dating one. She's a proud Michigan fan, and I got to support the boys in blue tonight. And I do think this Michigan defense, especially their secondary, this matchup favors them heavily. But like I predicted in the preseason with Michigan winning, I still believe this game's going to come down to a last-second field goal. Give me Michigan 31, Washington Huskies 28, and what's going to be an epic national championship game.
I'm close.
That's
with
a good
you, Baltar.
segue. That's a good
close
segue
with
to our
Baltar.
part.
I'm glad you support the blue. We love our cops.
You want to go score predictions?
Let's do it. Appreciate it, Valtar. All right, what you got?
Make sure you tune in the live stream tonight. I'm going to dive into a little bit more. Here's what's going to happen. Give me Michigan 34, Washington 27.
I knew it because you said their score first, and you would never go backwards like that. 34-27. All right.
34-27.
All right.
All right. Wearing this Husky shirt for a reason, damn it. Give me Washington 34, Michigan 31.
Oh, by a field goal. Okay. That's interesting. Look, I'm going to try and go full Vicky Valancourt on this thing here.
Do it.
Michigan 41, Washington 24. Michigan's going to get 10 possessions, 5 in the first half, 5 in the second half, 5 touchdowns on those, 2 field goals. Washington's going to score 2 touchdowns in the first half, a touchdown and a field goal in the second. And that ain't no guess.
You remember that
That's
time?
what it's going to be.
Remember that time Bobby showed up and got that interception? He ran all the way back with his pants in his ankles.
No, I just remember when he showed up at the Bourbon Bowl.
Do you? Do you? Man, either way, it's going to be great. All right, let's get to donuts. We're going to drop our bets tonight for the live stream. Tonight. So we're not putting them out. We just got a lot to bet tonight. We're trying to win some bread.
Oh, let's go to Cone's High Water Pants. I
There
see
he
your
is.
ankles over there, buddy. $5 donation. I'm paying for Blaine to roast Jake and David for putting the Giants over the Cowboys in their NFL preseason projections.
Oh, yeah.
Ew.
Did you have the Cowboys?
Huh?
Did you have the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Winning the
You
division?
had the Eagles.
Not the Giants. I know that for damn sure.
Well, Daniel's
I have mine right here. I had the Giants. Oh, yeah, I had the Cowboys finish. I had the Eagles winning the division first off.
I think I did too.
I still had the Cowboys 10-7.
Yeah.
Washington 5-12. That one.
I think I may have 3 teams.
Yeah.
Well, look, hey, congrats to them. Like Jake said, man, that CD Lamb, Dak Prescott connection
maybe that can be the
really
difference.
good.
I still don't trust Dak during the playoffs.
I like them this week as well.
All right, let's go to Sasha with a $5 donation. Can we get an Oscar Mayer to sponsor the Birmingham Bowl next year? Little glizzies in football.
The Wiener Bowl, you love it.
God, I'm going to say something, but I'm not. Let's go to Brad David with a $10 donation. Appreciated the man with 2 first names. Michigan was smart to be patient with Harbaugh when he was losing. Y'all think if A&M would have given Jimbo more time, he would have turned around that program?
I think eventually he'd have won big one year, but I don't know if they consistently would have won big. You know, I think that, at this point, it wasn't like you were there for 2 years. It wasn't like a Billy Napier situation where it's like, all right, well, year 3, better do it or you're out. I mean, he's there for, 5 years? I think you had plenty of time. You had ample time.
Even though Jim Harbaugh wasn't winning the conference or beating Urban Meyer, he still was having winning seasons before that COVID year. And also, let's not forget, any other coach there would have been gone. Jim Harbaugh being a Michigan legacy and playing for Bo Schembechler, that's what got him to stay around.
All right, let's go to Chris Walton with a $5 donation. Chris, appreciate it, brother. He says, Lil Walton update. Charlie got 2 silvers, 2 golds, and a diamond.
Nice.
For number 1 overall in her age group. Needed a 9.25 for the win. And she got a 9.40.
Right.
Yeah, Charlie with 2 E's.
Yeah, Charlie.
Why you get your motivational speeches here.
All right, let's go to Steve Action Figure Frenzy with a $2 donation. Steve, when betting, what do you consider a unit?
Well,
it's unit shame around here.
Yeah, it just depends on, a unit is, I'm trying to think the best way to explain this. A unit, by definition, is what you're betting on, So if I'm a unit to me is like $100.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to bet $100 on a bet. That's 1 unit for me. Right. So if I'm up 2 units, I'm up $200. There's not like a uniform
set price on a unit.
Yeah, set price on there. It's whatever you're betting. That's how you keep track of the money that you've won. Right. Or if you're actually winning or not. It's not just, I'm 6-3. But you can be 6-3 and have not won money. That's depending on what you're betting on. So that's the unit is what you're willing to bet per bet. Right, on average. That's
and then for mega parlays, does that change up? Like your unit for a parlay is probably $10, right?
No, to me, if I win, it just depends, right? Like if I'm not going to put $100 on like a 15-leg parlay, I'm not going to do that. So maybe my units for parlays are going to be lower than what they are for single bets. I'm guessing most people's are.
Absolutely, 100%. Let's go to Humping Badger.
Nice.
No.
$10 donation. Request for David Washington. Let's bet if Michigan wins, I'll give up my outdoors time for the week. If Huskies win, I get unlimited outdoor time, plus you have to bow down and call me King.
How about this? I don't negotiate with terrorists. I'll make your outdoor time whatever I want it to be. Pervert.
That's exactly right.
All right, that's the last donation of the day. Appreciate it, y'all. Let's get to the poll. Who covers in tonight's game? Washington plus 4.5 or Michigan minus 4.5?
I'm going to say they said Washington 58%.
Michigan 90%.
Michigan 54%, Washington 46%.
It's going to be fun.
All right, join us on the live stream tonight. And the chances of the national championship game not delivering tonight, we're going.
Oh, my God.
Gone. That's a drop. It's on me.